Hey y'all, I'm Julie Samaco, owner of Southern Charm Wreaths, where we make beautiful wreaths and teach you how to make and sell them. In this video, we're going to turn this into this. The reason I'm doing this is because somebody asked me what wreath bases are not good to use for year round. And I'm trying to prove that there is no such thing. So we are going to start with a Christmas wreath and we are going to turn it into a year-round wreath. Let's get started. Okay, so we've got our 24-inch wreath. This is a Christmas wreath, that I bought during Christmas time. And I'm first going to make this not look Christmassy, okay? So what I did was I cut my 10-inch, this is 10-inch mesh. I cut them 14 inches long. These are strips. And I'm just going to pinch this together and then secure it in the wreath with the needle ties of the wreath. You just twist it like it's a bread basket, not a bread basket, a bread bag. You know, a tie on a bread tie. A twisty tie on a bread loaf is what I'm trying to say. And so now we're going to do the same thing, working back and forth on the wreath. Just twisting and turning. All right, so we're just working in the mesh here and there, back and forth. This part, to me, is one of the most important parts because this is what's going to help transform the wreath from Christmas to a different style. Once you have something very basic, neutral, I should say, like a burlap base, you can pretty much convert this into anything. It could be a spring, it could be a wedding, it could be, summer. Just using a neutral shade of mesh. It's very versatile. One thing to remember that when you're using your evergreen wreath base, sometimes you can't put some of the stems that come out really far. Like, for example, when we make our grapevine wreaths, we can have our stems go pretty, far out. Usually when you're using a Christmas wreath base, it doesn't have enough support to warrant heavier stems that come pretty far out for the dimension. It makes more of a compact wreath. And I use the whole roll of 10-inch mesh. So I didn't count how many pieces I'm doing. I just did the whole roll because I really want this to be, scream year-round and not scream Christmas. So I'm just trying to fill it in. Deco mesh is a really good and inexpensive way to fill up a wreath, get the volume and the texture that you need for a wreath. Texture is super, super important when it comes to wreath making. A lot of times people think it's just the color, and why the color is very important when you're wreath making or floral designing. Texture is another element that is needed in order to create a visually pleasing design. This is a burlap snowdrift mesh. Cotton drift mesh is what they call it. I think I got this from Deco Exchange in one of their subscription boxes. So the 14-inch pieces are cut, right? And this is what we have, right? This is really pretty. So the next thing I want to do is add in some of our greens. Okay, so we're going to use, I pulled over some of these. I think these are really pretty. This is a, they're calling it laurel Seedling Mountain Laurel Spray. This is item number FL2512-GC. 2512-GC. I got this from Select. But you really want to use any type of greenery. I'm looking over here to see what else I have. You can use fern. You can use beautiful bamboo. Any type of greenery to add to the base to give it the I'm not a Christmas look. Let's see. I think I'm going to, do I want to divide these? Yeah, I think I do. These are plastic. You could keep them whole if you want to, and secure them all in one area. I mean, you know, like this. So I could take this, spread it out, and then secure it in this way. But I want even distribution, and the only way to do that is if we divide it up to give us a more consistent look. So some of these stems are a little on the long side, and I think I'm going to trim these because remember I said this style of wreath doesn't do well with longer stems. It doesn't have the weight at the base to hold the heaviness of a stem. So we're just going to go through and add our laurel leaves. We're going to make sure that they're all going in the same direction. So if I put one over here, I'm going to take and put one over on the opposite side. Right, there's one. Let's see. I want to glue onto the needle ties, not the mesh. Let's see if I have any other long ones. Okay, here's one more. And now I'm just going to keep filling in, making sure they're all going to go in the same direction. And then don't forget to do some on the inside ring too, which is in the center. Okay, let's just keep adding these. We've got just a few more. I'm just going to keep using all that I have cut off. I'm taking off the leaves on the bottom if it's not giving me enough stem. I don't want to dip a bunch of leaves into the glue. Okay, here's these. So these are just the little baby pieces we're going to take and go around. Well, I just touched the glue. That didn't feel good. All right, a couple more. I think we're good for our base right now. The other thing that you can use that I think is really pretty, let me do one more. Let me just do one more, is leftover leaves from, say, a hydrangea bush. So we have, where are they? You see how we have these? I mean, these are pretty too, to tuck in and out to help fill in. And a lot of times we'll use a hydrangea bush for, you know, another project, but then we don't use the leaves because we just want the flowers. So if you have any, you know, left over from that type of project, you can use those as well. You're just looking for anything that will help to hide the fact that we are looking at a Christmas wreath. Okay, I've pretty much gone all the way around, but since we have one more, let's just go ahead and put it right here. So typically the Christmas wreaths are only sold during when? Christmas time. So if you are a consistent wreath maker and you like making wreaths all year round, or if you have an Etsy shop, you can stock up on your Christmas wreaths when they have sales, after Christmas sales. So here is what we have so far. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in our hydrangea bush. One, two, let me see if I'm missing. I am. Okay, so here's the hydrangea bush. They have, you know, hydrangeas at all the floral places. I like to use the, not the bright white, more of a cream color. You see how I'm trimming these little stems off? We can add those later to the design. I'm trimming these just a little shorter. And then we can trim these and use these later too. All right, I'm just fluffing these out. They were a little smashed in my stash. All right, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so all I'm going to do, if you are not sure where to place them, just start by adding them in for placement. And then once you like your positioning, that's when you can go and hot glue them in. If you put a bow on a year-round wreath, you're going to want to make sure that it's a color that's neutral. So you could put a burlap bow on here. I'm not using a burlap bow because I thought I had enough burlap with the Deco mesh. But a neutral colored ribbon would be really pretty. You don't even have to use mesh if you don't want to, as long as you just use enough greenery to make it look like something that you would hang in your door, your home year round. Okay, so here we have our hydrangeas. How pretty is that? The next thing I'm going to do is start filling in with some other white flowers. These are cherry blossoms, but Where's my scissors? You can use, they're still good to use year-round. There really is very few flowers that you can't use year-round. So also when you're using something like cherry blossoms, it makes this a transitional piece from one season to the next, getting more use out of your wreath. And another reason it's called year-round. You're wanting to be able to get multiple seasons out of it. All I'm doing is trimming these a little on the short side. See how we just trimmed, we just cut everything shorter. All right, so just go through and fill in. So we've got our focal flowers established, and we're just going to go through and blend in some of these. So yeah, I'm just going back and forth, top and bottom, right and left, side to side. We're just trying to get an even disbursement. Okay, so we've gone all the way around the wreath with our white cherry blossoms. The other thing you could use are these really pretty pom-poms. I'm not pom-poms, snowball. So this is another version of a hydrangea. Let's see, do I want those? That looks pretty. What do y'all think? I think I'm going to do one stem. Just trimming these off. And then I'm saving these leaves. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then we're just going to evenly place these. Remember the focal flowers? So we know where to stay, like where to place these because of the focal flowers. Let's see, where am I going to place this one? So we've got one more. All I'm going to do is take it and put it in the center. Don't worry that you don't have one to go over here or one to go over here, and that's where a lot of people will make a mistake. They'll go, let me go pull another bush. Well, I'm trying to use up all my bush instead of cutting another stem. I think that would be too much, and I don't want to have half a stem of snowball bush not used, right? So we just sort of make do with the amount that we have on the bush. I love these. These are mini dahlias. So they're in a little, like a chartreuse green. I guess that's chartreuse. That's pretty. But then I also pulled over, ooh, yeah. I love these. So this is another way of adding texture. So this is a seed berry spray, item 4811-C, 4811-C. So when I look at berries, so berries are another item that you can put in a year-round wreath. Berries also add color and texture. So it's a 2-for-1. 2-for-1 deal. I'm just trimming these short. So this wreath would be pretty for a rustic wedding. A year-round wreath, a wedding wreath, a spring wreath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little berries. All right, so now we're going to get one here. Let's go one on the opposite side. I'm going to go closer to the outside of the wreath on this side to make sure we fill in on the sides. And now we're coming over on this side. I'm going to come over here. And then one over here. And now we've evenly dispersed that berry. Okay, so now what we can do is take these little pieces, remember that came off of our laurel leaf bush. We're just going to add those back and forth for added texture. This is one of the, I feel this is one of an easier wreath to accomplish. You don't have to do so much worrying about placement as long as you just keep going back and forth. Let's work over here. And we've got one more. Okay. All right, so now these little pieces that we pulled off of our florals, could go through and add these. I'm paying attention to wherever I see any Christmas green. All right, do you see it? See how it's coming together? Same thing with these leaves. We can add these leaves in, and we can add these, which are left over from our hydrangea. We could add those in. And then also what I want to add in is some of this hops. So this is a hops bush. It's an inexpensive plastic bush, but it gives really good impact. I'm just going to trim this very short. So this is one stem, and I'm dividing it right here. And this is going to be really pretty, filling in more of the green Christmas wreath. Just dividing these in half. And then going through wherever I feel like we need to cover up any Christmas This is also has a really pretty green on it. It's not just all, you know, the dark green. It's got some of the lime green, which is really pretty with those lime green berries that we added. Just doing one more. These are item number CS 14650. 14650 from Select. No, from Sims. So we've got Teresa said she would hang it in the winter. And that's exactly my goal, was to prove that I can make a year-round wreath with a Christmas wreath base. If you just remember to keep your pieces small and compact, you can produce a really pretty design. If you don't have hops, you could use something like boxwood or tea leaf. Let's see, I've gone there. Okay, so we've gone all the way around. And then again, if you want to use these leaves, you can use these leaves to place in as well, to go all the way through wherever you have some, you know, holes that you want to cover up so you don't have the Christmas, you know, wreath showing. So you could do that, like I see a place in the back right there. Because you're using, if you use the leaves that are already on the shrub or the bush, the floral bush, it's going to be the right coloring that you already have in the wreath. So pretty. Here's the back. So you could go through and keep adding on the sides if you need to, like I said with those hydrangea leaves. But for me, this looks so, so pretty. There you have it, a beautiful year-round wreath made on a Christmas wreath base for your front door, comment below and tell me, where would you hang this? For more tutorials and more information about wreath making, head over to southerncharmwreaths.com. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Bye.